One day, as I was waiting for my grandson John to visit, I heard the sound of a police car outside. Feeling a sense of unease, my smartphone rang.
Nancy! John was in an accident and has been rushed to a hospital in the neighboring town.
There was no way I could immediately process the words of my son-in-law, Jason, who had hurriedly hung up the phone. Not knowing what else to do, I quickly called a taxi to head to the hospital where John had been taken.
Nancy, I'm glad you made it safely.
How's John?
He's in the operating room now. They told me his life is not in danger.
Really? That's a relief. A few hours later, the doctor and a nurse came out of the operating room to inform us that the surgery had gone well. My anxiety and tension immediately turned to relief, and together with Jason, I thanked the doctor multiple times. The doctor simply replied,
"No problem,"
and walked away. While the doctor left, the nurse stayed behind.
Here are John's belongings from the time of the accident.
Saying this, the nurse handed us John's tote bag and smartphone.
It seems John was on his way back from the supermarket.
Jason showed me the contents. The bag was filled with ingredients needed for making hamburgers, such as onions, ground meat, and eggs. Hey.
Yes?
I felt something was off about the items John had purchased. Why did John? I am Nancy. A long time ago, my husband passed away, and I lived alone at that time. But I was not lonely.
Grandma, is this amount of potatoes okay?
Yes, it's fine. You've really gotten good at it. That's because my grandson John often came to visit me. On that day, he came to ask for cooking lessons, and we were making soup together. At first, his knife skills were clumsy, but now they've become remarkably good.
Oh, Dad just finished work. He says he'll be here in about 30 minutes.
Oh, Jason is early today. Let's all eat together then. John's father Jason was my son-in-law. When John came to visit, it's become a routine for Jason to come over for dinner after work. This was because Jason's wife, my daughter Emma, disappeared a few years ago. Emma was a kind child, and she always prepared meals for me when I came home from work. When she became a high school student, she started a part-time job and always tried to give money to the household, saying thank you. I couldn't accept that, but for my birthday, she bought me a very nice bag and I still cherish it. Emma married Jason, and when John was in elementary school, she disappeared without any warning. We filed a missing person report, but the police dismissed it as a family matter. We searched for her ourselves, but never found her. Where was she? What was she doing? Was she even alive? At that time, I was overwhelmed with a mix of anxiety, worry, and the responsibility of needing to properly scold her as a mother.
I'm home.
Welcome back, Dad. It's already done.
Jason came home, and John greeted him happily. The soup, which John had chopped the vegetables for and seasoned, was simmering nicely. Jason took one look and said it looked delicious, patting John on the head.
Oh, Dad. Stop that. I'm in high school now.
John frowned and pushed his hand away, but he didn't seem entirely displeased. Watching the two of them, I felt a warm smile, but also a bit of guilt. Where could Emma have gone, leaving such treasures behind?
Let's eat. Delicious.
John had been waiting with an empty stomach, so he couldn't wait for Jason to sit down and started eating first. Seeing him eat so heartily always filled me with a warm feeling. As a growing high schooler, he needed to eat a lot. After Jason sat down, I prayed and began to eat as well. The potatoes were well seasoned, fluffy, and very tasty. To add some color to the table, I also made a salad, though it only had greens since all three of us dislike tomatoes.
John, how's school lately? Have you gotten used to high school yet?
Yeah. It's normal now. I'm used to commuting, and I have friends, so no problems. Oh, Grandma, let's have Hamburg steak tomorrow. I want Western food.
Tomorrow? All right. Don't you want to hang out with your friends?
No, studying cooking is more important.
John used to visit about once a week, but the visits increased gradually, and he came over almost every day after school at that time. When I asked about club activities, he said he wasn't in any. No matter how many times I asked why, he only said he wanted to study cooking and wouldn't say more. I think he should enjoy his once-in-a-lifetime high school experience more, but this must be John's way of being considerate. Thanks to him, we could eat together as a family and have lively meals, except for one empty seat. One day, John sent a message during the day.
I'll come at 5 p.m. to make dinner today.
He usually texted in the evening, so I wondered if school ended early today. Maybe he was coming after hanging out with friends, I thought casually. Since I was going to be home all day, it wasn't a problem, so I replied, all right. However, evening came and John didn't show up. Even if he was late, he was usually here by 6 p.m., but it was already past 7 p.m. I worried and tried to call John, but there was no answer. I decided to step outside, and from a distance, I heard police sirens. With a sense of foreboding, I overheard the neighbors talking nearby. A high school student, traffic accident? No way, it couldn't be. The bad feeling grew, sending chills down my spine, and I felt dizzy. At that moment, my cell phone vibrated in my pocket. With trembling hands, I looked at the screen. It was a call from Jason. Hello?
Nancy! I just heard that John was in an accident and has been rushed to the hospital in the neighboring town. I'm heading there now. I need you to come too. The address is...
Jason hurriedly hung up the phone. My legs gave out, and I sat down on the ground. First my husband passed away, then Emma disappeared, and next was John. I was terrified by the thought of losing everyone around me. I wished it had been me in the accident instead of John. Then, I could have reunited with everyone and lived happily with my family. These thoughts kept flooding my mind, and I was horrified by my own thinking. I realized that my heart was reaching its limit. I couldn't bear to lose another loved one. Gathering all my strength, I stood up, called a taxi, and headed to the hospital Jason mentioned. I shut the door on the dark thoughts that had surfaced earlier and prayed solely for John's safety. The journey to the hospital, which should have taken about 10 minutes, felt like hours to me. I quickly walked from the taxi to the waiting room Jason had mentioned. Opening the door, I saw Jason sitting on a chair, sighing and staring at the floor. When he noticed I had entered, he looked up.
Nancy, I'm glad you made it safely.
Jason said. Yes, but what about John? I asked.
He's in the operating room now. They said his life isn't in danger.
Jason explained. Really? That's a relief. I sighed in relief and sat down next to Jason. Looking closely, I noticed his suit was wrinkled, showing that he had hurried over here.
I'm sorry for calling you over so suddenly. I couldn't bear the wait alone.
Jason said. I understand. I couldn't just stay at home doing nothing either. Don't worry about it, I replied.
Thank you.
He said. I hope the surgery goes well. It was already dark, and the hallway lights were off. The red in surgery lamp glowed eerily, heightening my anxiety. I don't know how much time had passed, but the red light went off when my hands were chilled. After a few minutes, the door to the operating room opened, and the doctor in charge and a nurse appeared. Jason stood up and rushed over to the doctor.
Doctor, how is John?
He hasn't regained consciousness yet. But he's going to be fine. I don't think there will be any lasting after effects. John did very well.
Really? That's great. Thank you so much.
Jason bowed his head. I also stood up and bowed deeply.
Oh. No. No need to thank me. He will be hospitalized here until he regains consciousness and recovers to a certain extent. So please prepare his belongings.
Yes, understood. Thank you very much.
The doctor lightly waved and left the room. His figure was very reassuring, and I felt confident that John would be in good hands from now on.
Excuse me, these are the belongings John had with him when he had the accident.
The nurse handed John's tote bag and smartphone to Jason, said a quick,
I'm going to go.
and followed the doctor.
It looks like John was on his way back from the supermarket.
Jason showed me the contents of the bag with a sad smile. Inside were onions, ground meat, eggs, and other ingredients needed for making Hamburg steak. And on top of everything was a slightly squashed bright red tomato. I noticed something strange. Hey, why did John buy a tomato? We don't use it in Hamburg steak, and none of us can eat it. John, Jason, and I all disliked tomatoes. The only one in the family who could eat tomatoes was Emma. As this question crossed my mind, a notification popped up on John's smartphone. It was a chat notification from a social media app, showing the profile picture of the other person. However, the phone was locked with a password, so we couldn't see the contents. A friend, perhaps?
I recognize this photo.
Jason seemed to have a sudden realization.
Could it be?
He tried to unlock the phone. Hey, it's not right to look without permission. Ignoring my words, Jason tapped 0621 in sequence. The phone unlocked. That number is...
Emma's birthday. John has been asking a lot about Emma lately. I thought it might be.
I tapped on the recent notification to see the content.
This park in the picture was Emma's favorite. The three of us used to go there often on weekends.
As we scrolled through the chat history, Jason seemed to confirm his suspicion.
This person John was chatting with is Emma.
No way, it can't be. Jason showed me a decisive conversation.
You said you had a son, right?
Yes. He's about your age, I think.
I'm sorry for hiding it all this time. My name is John. After talking to you so much, I'm sure. You're Emma, my mother, aren't you?
John. Is it really you, John?
At first, Emma was skeptical, but as she listened to more details, she became convinced. Their conversation grew more and more animated, discussing recent school events, Jason, and me. However, Emma repeatedly insisted that John must not tell us about her. Emma sounded very lively in the conversation, which was reassuring as a parent, but it only deepened the mystery of why she disappeared.
This is the latest conversation.
Jason operated the screen again and showed me yesterday's and today's conversation.
School ends in the morning today, so can I come to your house?
Sure, but keep it a secret from everyone.
Yay! I'll come over in the early afternoon then.
Okay. I'll be waiting.
This explained why John bought a tomato. John had been in contact with Emma through social media for some time, had confirmed she was his mother, and was planning to meet her today. He brought a tomato, which was her favorite. Indeed, the place where John had the accident was in the opposite direction from my house.
John? It's getting late. What happened? Are you okay?
Several messages like this had come since early afternoon today. And the latest notification read,
I'm sorry. I suddenly felt unwell and am going to the hospital now. Can we reschedule?
This was the end of their conversation today. The news of John's accident and Emma's survival left me feeling both happy and sad, with my emotions in turmoil.
According to this profile, it seems Emma lives nearby.
Really?
Yes. If she went to the hospital today, it might be this one.
Indeed, this is the only large hospital around here. Hearing Jason's thoughts, I felt a sudden rush of warmth. I might be able to see my daughter for the first time in years. John would surely be happy too. But first, I needed to confirm the facts with John. I went home, praying for John's recovery and Emma's safety, and fell asleep. For the next few days, we took turns watching over John and searching for Emma's whereabouts. When we asked at the reception desk, they refused to give us any patient information, so we asked around among the hospitalized patients directly. Then, one day,
Nancy.
Jason came rushing into John's hospital room, out of breath.
I found out. Emma is admitted to room 505 in this hospital. It seems she's been in and out of the hospital for the past few years.
What? Is she sick?
I don't know yet. But
Jason slowly faced John, who had yet to regain consciousness. He gently held John's limp hand.
finally, the day has come. We can see Emma. Right, John? You want to see Mom too, don't you? Thank you for finding her.
Jason repeatedly murmured thank you to John and shed tears.
Nancy, I'm going to Emma's room now. What about you?
Go ahead. I'll stay with John.
Thank you. I'll go then.
With his nose slightly red, Jason left the room. To be honest, I wanted to see Emma as soon as possible too, but I held back. After all, Jason had been working so hard for my daughter and had endured so much loneliness. As a mother, I was genuinely happy that someone cared so deeply for her. I shouldn't interfere with their reunion. As I was thinking this and tending to the flowers in John's room, I heard a faint voice.
Grandma.
I couldn't believe it and turned my gaze to the bed. John's eyes were slightly open. Seeing this, I immediately rushed to his side. John. I'm so glad. Wait, I need to call the nurse right away.
Dad, where is he?
Oh, right. I need to contact Jason too.
Where is he?
He's at work right now. He had a meeting he couldn't miss.
I see.
John murmured and smiled. But he'll come as soon as he hears you've woken up. I don't know why I lied about Jason being at work. But I felt I needed to confirm things about Emma with John first. It pained me a little to make John talk right after waking up. Then the doctor and nurse came in to examine him, so I had to leave the room. Shortly after, Jason arrived.
Is it true he's awake?
Yes, the doctor is with him now.
That's great. Really great.
Looking closely, Jason's face was even redder than before, and his eyes were slightly swollen. How was Emma?
Well, I did get to see her, but...
But what? Jason hesitated and avoided meeting my eyes. Then, he resigned and murmured.
Emma doesn't have much time left.
What? No.
She's been suffering from a severe illness for about 5 years, and it's a miracle she's still alive. They said the day John had his accident, she was also brought in by emergency services.
Jason smiled sadly and painfully. To finally reunite, only to have to say goodbye so soon. How heartbreaking.
As soon as we met, Emma scolded me. She said she left because she didn't want to cause any trouble.
Emma is a kind child.
I took advantage of her kindness. But I should have realized it. I failed as a husband.
Don't blame yourself. She did it because she wanted you to be happy. I'm sure of it.
Yes, you're right.
I shared Jason's feelings of guilt. Emma was so kind and always put others before herself. That's why we needed to pay more attention to her. We should have searched harder, like John did. But it's too late for regrets now. So, I decided to make the remaining time meaningful for Emma and John. With this resolve, I clenched my fists tightly. A few days later, John had completely regained consciousness and was now focused on rehabilitation.
Hospitals are so boring. I'm already feeling better, and I want to go back to school soon.
He said these carefree words. I thought it was about time to bring it up and started to talk about Emma. By the way, John, where were you heading that day? It was in the opposite direction of my house.
Oh, that. I was going to the supermarket in the next town. It's big and cheap, but it's far from Grandma's house and hard to get to.
John answered, clearly avoiding eye contact. John, please tell me the truth.
The truth? What are you talking about, Grandma?
I'm sorry, John, but we know everything. You were going to see Emma that day, weren't you? John's shoulders twitched, and he looked at me wide-eyed in surprise.
How did you know? Did you go through my phone without permission?
He glared at me as if to say,
How dare you?
I was a bit taken aback since I had never seen him look at me that way, but I couldn't back down now. I'm sorry about that. A notification came while you were asleep, and so...
That doesn't mean you can just... No, it's not your fault, Grandma. I'm sorry for raising my voice.
John slumped his shoulders and looked out the window.
When I was in middle school, Dad was often tormented at night, calling out Emma, Emma. so I thought I had to do something and started searching.
John began to speak in a halting manner.
I didn't think I would find anything. Honestly, it was a miracle that I found Mom's account. After seeing her usual posts and chatting, I was convinced.
Why were you convinced?
Mom has a scar on her wrist, right?
Yes, she got burned with a frying pan when she was young, and the scar never went away even as an adult. When Emma was in middle school, she greeted me with bandages on her wrist after I came home from work, which shocked me. I rushed her to a dermatologist who prescribed an ointment, but it resulted in a permanent scar. She laughed it off, saying it was nothing to worry about, but it left a huge sense of guilt in my heart.
There was a photo of a drink posted on her account, and the scar was visible. Plus, her hobbies and her love for tomatoes.
John spoke with a bit of pride in his voice. Children's reasoning abilities and initiative can sometimes surpass those of adults.
That day, after we talked a lot and confirmed things, I went to see Mom. On the way, a car crashed into me.
So, the tomatoes were for.
Yeah, they were for Mom. She ate tomatoes every day. So, I wanted to bring her some nutritious ones. Sorry for keeping it a secret.
It's all right, I said as I gently patted John's head. He murmured something about already being a high school student, but I pretended not to hear it.
I wanted to tell you and Dad earlier, but Mom insisted I shouldn't. Maybe she didn't even want to see me.
That's not true.
It is. She seemed like she was hiding something. But I still want to see her.
Seeing the determination in his eyes, I felt a bit intimidated. I haven't met Emma yet. If she left to avoid causing trouble, visiting her now might undermine her years of effort. That's why Jason has been visiting Emma repeatedly without telling me. Emma has been in poor health ever since she was rushed to the hospital. If Emma wants to hide her condition from John, I shouldn't take him to see her.
Hey, what's Dad doing today?
He's at work.
That's a lie. I know he took a day off. He's visiting Mom, isn't he? Is Mom hospitalized here?
Why do you think that? I broke into a cold sweat at John's question. My response could change the outcome for my grandchild.
I overheard Dad talking to a nurse in the hallway. Please, I want to see Mom too. Take me to her.
But,
Please, Grandma. You want to see her too, right? Let's go together. Oh, and don't forget the tomatoes.
I was speechless at John's straightforward plea. And before I knew it, I found myself in front of room 505 with John and a bag of tomatoes in hand. John knocked on the door. A familiar female voice responded from inside.
Yes?
Mom.
He opened the door and immediately rushed to the woman lying on the bed. At that moment, she hid her face with the blanket. Jason, who was nearby, looked at us in surprise.
John! What are you doing here?
Mom. I'm sorry I couldn't come to you that day. I'm sorry for breaking our promise.
John, stop it. This woman. She's not Emma.
Mom, I learned a lot from Grandma because I wanted to cook delicious meals for you. I can make anything you request.
John! That's enough.
John tried to uncover the blanket while Jason desperately tried to stop him. But John touched an injured part, causing him to cry out in pain and grab his arm. Jason stopped moving, looking concerned.
Mom, why won't you look at me? I'm in high school now.
I can't let you see me like this.
I'm sorry, Mom. I knew you were sick for a long time. You tried so hard to see me that day, didn't you? You're not a burden. Please.
John slowly lifted the blanket. Jason didn't stop him anymore. There she was, undeniably Emma. Although many years had passed, her features hadn't changed. However, she was clearly emaciated, with a poor complexion, and it was obvious she wasn't well.
It's been a while, John.
She looked at John with eyes that seemed to treasure him, yet they held a hint of sadness.
You've grown up so much. Oh, please don't cry. I hid because I didn't want you to see me like this. I didn't want you to see me in such a weak state.
You're not weak. I'm sorry, Mom.
Why are you apologizing? I'm the one who should apologize. I was so surprised when you contacted me. But I was happy. I'm sorry for leaving you alone.
I wasn't alone. Dad and Grandma were there.
You're right. Thank you, Mom. I'm sorry for disappearing so suddenly.
Really, Emma? We'll have a serious talk later.
Oh no, Mom's lectures are so long.
Emma laughed as she said this. Though she looked frail, inside she was the same as always. She was still the kind, strong child she always had been. So very kind, she sacrificed everything for the sake of others. I never realized the suffering and loneliness hidden behind her smile. But now, I understand. Even though she's smiling now, when we leave, she will be alone with her regrets. She might think she shouldn't have met us. Meeting us again would leave her with lingering attachment, making the goodbye even more painful. The thought of showing us her suffering, of being a burden to us, scares her the most. Still, we have to tell her. That's the only way we can make amends for letting her fight alone for so many years. Emma, welcome back. I'm so glad to see you. We won't let you go anywhere on your own again.
Yeah.
It's okay, there's nothing to fear. You're wonderful just as you are. Let's enjoy our time together from now on, all of us.
Thank you.
Her voice was so soft it was barely audible. But it reached my ears clearly.
Oh, yeah. I brought some tomatoes for you, Mom.
The somber atmosphere brightened instantly. Indeed, the power of children is immense.
Really? Then let's all eat them together.
But everyone hates tomatoes.
Hey now, no one should have food dislikes. We're all going to overcome that right here.
With Emma's encouragement, we all ate tomatoes together. John seemed to have already overcome his dislike for tomatoes and ate them happily. Jason and I hesitated at first, but as we were forced to eat them, memories with Emma flooded back, and we all ended up crying as we ate. For the first time in my life, I thought tomatoes were delicious. After that, Emma's health improved slightly, but then quickly worsened again, repeating this cycle. A week after our reunion, Emma passed away. Until she lost consciousness, she talked a lot to make up for the time we had been apart. and until the very end, we were all together as a family. Afterward, John was discharged from the hospital and attended the funeral, able to walk normally. Following Emma's wishes, we held a family funeral, as she felt uncomfortable with large crowds. We prepared a lot of tomatoes as offerings. We explained Emma's entire story to Jason's parents and deeply apologized. They were very kind and reassured us, saying it was okay. Though there were few attendees, the funeral was not modest. Emma was a beloved daughter, cherished by everyone. After that, John and Jason moved in with me. We learned the importance of spending time together from Emma. I want to stay together forever. But I still have regrets. While I was happy to see Emma at the end, the sadness of watching her pass away before my eyes was overwhelming. Most of all, I hated myself for not knowing about her illness and being unable to do anything until the end. One day, John came to me with tomatoes and said,
I want to become a doctor, a farmer, or a culinary researcher. I want to save people like Mom if I become a doctor, grow tomatoes that made Mom feel better even for a moment, and make people smile with the cooking Grandma taught me.
John.
Watch and see what I become. So, Grandma, you have to stay healthy until then. Here, I brought you a tomato.
Saying this, he went back to his room. Children sometimes touch us deeply. But the truth is, I'm being saved by John too. Maybe I'll make some meat sauce with these tomatoes today. At some point, our family became a family that loves tomatoes.